No more food means no more people. Is there a plan to create a desert out of much of the planet? And this is what American media is writing. Much of the world's farming community is still in the dark about the globalist plans to take their lands and make deserts out of them in the name of net zero and the climate. And many of the green states categorically and publicly say that the world's farms cannot be sustainable as defined by the globalists. Then they must go. Agriculture has no choice, quote unquote. One of them was quoted as saying at a recent event, it must be sustainable as de-development dictates, otherwise it will not be sustained. Now, this is why farmers in places like the Netherlands, France, and Italy and other areas roar their tractors into town squares and their respective nations' capitals to throw manure at political leaders because they recognize the threat. What many fail to understand, however, is that it is not just stupidity or mental retardation that drives the green agenda. It's a cold, coordinated genocide promoted under the guise of saving the world. Quote, many farmers have been pressured into supporting the absurd program enthusiastically promoted by climate change believers, and quote, reports anti-internationalist author Dr. Vernon Coleman, and he continues, he says, the plan of the conspirators is to reduce the amount of land available for growing food in order to create food shortages, starvation, and a conquest, inevitable reduction in the size of the world's population, as well as desolation of much of the Earth's land. Rewilding means dehumanization. As pleasant as it is in some ways to think of the world's lands becoming natural again in the hands of nature rather than humans, we must also recognize that in order to make the planet wild again, they must also be contained, they must also contain the people. When green people talk about nature, they don't just mean parks, wetlands, and natural environments. They also mean your farm, even your home, not to mention your entire trade and industry. And that means that you and your family must disappear so they can expand the natural habitats and create a new environment like the Garden of Eden without you in it. And Coleman states, today most farmers think that their problems arise as a result of the stupidity of politicians, but what happens to them has nothing to do with stupidity, ignorance, or weakness. Everything is applied cold by design. More and more European countries are now dependent on imports for most of their food and energy supplies, and most of our food will be made in factories owned by billionaires on behalf of the world power, states Coleman. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.